Good morning, good morning. This is Lady Danny from Land Enchantress Handcrafted Essential Oil Soap, coming to you live from the Royal Borough of South Philadelphia. For those of you that are watching the replay, thanks very much. For those of you like the lovely Jess that are watching live, thank you too. Today we're going to talk about calendula, and we've talked about that before, but today I'm going to run through something that you might not be aware of, as well as show you quickly how you can make your own infused oil. So let's get started. There we go. Good morning, good morning. Okay, today I just wanted to talk about calendula, and we've discussed this plant before because it does have a number of uses, and a lot of people have already talked about what it does for skin. It's fantastic as an anti-inflammatory, it's fantastic as an antiseptic. Good morning, thanks for coming in. But in talking about all that, sometimes we miss out on some basic things that could be helpful in your everyday life, and one of those is how to make your own calendula infused oil. So you might be saying at this point, well, why would I even bother? Well, number one is it's really, either you can grow calendula yourself. This year my yard was in flux because we were taking out some things and putting in some other things and having reconstruction, so I couldn't grow it. But you can buy bags of it very easily and inexpensively. And realistically, in order to get the best oils, I really think the dried herb does best. Now, that's not to say if you're growing it yourself, you can't leave it out and let it dry before you make it into an oil. I always I know that there are people on YouTube, and loads of people say you can make your own oils using the fresh herbs, and I'm not saying that you can't. I'm just saying, in order to set yourself up for success, you don't want to necessarily introduce a lot of water into an oil that you're creating yourself. Good morning, thanks for coming in. And because of that, I would prefer that you use the dry matter to start with. So why do you want to do your own calendula oil? Well, first of all, the plant goes back for a very long time. Good morning, sweetie. And it's been used in everything from the Civil War because it's a natural hemostat, which means it stops bleeding. So as people were on the battlefield and they were bleeding out, it was easy enough to grab calendula, get some flowers, pack the wound to stop the bleeding, and also work as a natural antiseptic. This can also translate into using it as a natural antiseptic for loads of skin inflammation and problems. So we're talking about diaper rash. We're talking about sore and cracked nipples from women that are starting to breastfeed. We're talking about just calming and soothing down any kind of skin interruption. It works on so many levels. Sometimes Calendula officinalis was called pot marigold, and that goes back to in Germany, where they were actually throwing the flower petals into the pot to season, because this does give a similar color to what saffron does, but it's a heck of a lot cheaper. So, having all these wonderful things, it's also got natural antioxidants, it's full of beta carotene, and a lot of times we just concentrate on all the great stuff that it does for skin, we forget about internally. And yes, if you have organic calendula, you can make a tea that helps to calm and soothe and brings all those antioxidants internally as well. In fact, if you make an infused oil, depending on what you use, if you use all organic, which is what I would suggest, just to make sure that there are no pesticides in it, unless you're growing your own, in which case you know what you're using to grow the plant, all you need to do, and there are several different ways, but you can use, if you're using it to make a beauty product like I am, or any other kind of balm or salve, I use rice bran oil when I'm using it for skin. And the reason why is because rice bran oil is really light, so it helps to carry all the properties that I want from calendula into the oil, but at the same time, when I use it for a salve or even just as a facial oil, you're not going to be left with that greasy residue. So that's why I'm doing this with rice bran oil. However, if you are looking to use it for something internally, for anything from stomach upset to help just calming all over your body, internal inflammation, then you can use something like olive oil, or you can use sunflower oil. The biggest thing that you need to do when you are making your own infused oil is, first of all, make sure that you have enough plant matter. Now, I do know when I buy this in bags, it not only has the petals, but it sometimes has the heads on it. I know lots of people that will throw the heads out and only use the petals. That's up to you. But if you're spending good money to get a big bag of organic calendula and you're throwing out half of it just because it's a head thing, let's face it, once this all sets up over several weeks and infuses, you're going to take all the plant matter out anyway. And there's just as much goodness in the tops as there is in the petals. So I would just say use the whole thing. Now I do go through and take out like extraneous twigs and things like that. The biggest thing that you need to worry about when you're doing this is make sure that your oil is going to cover all of your plant matter. You really need everything kind of submerged. Once you get it to that point, all you have to do is put a tight fitting lid on it and make sure it's sealed and secured. Now, there are several ways that you can do this. Some people just will leave it like this for 6 weeks, somewhere where they can see it, shake it just to make sure everything gets incorporated, and then strain it from there. There are some people that like to put it on a windowsill just so the warmth of the sun gets into it and helps the diffusing process. But if you really want the quickest way, say that you have a baby shower coming this weekend and you want to make a quick and easy diaper rash salve or something like a nipple cream for the mom, and you want to make it up really quick and simple. The best way to do is to take this and you will put it in a crock pot that is filled with water. Good morning, sweetie. You put it in a crock pot with water. It doesn't have to be over the top of it. Welcome on your first day to Periscope. But if you have it to about here, basically what you want to do is put it on low heat and let it stay there for 4 to 5 hours. That low heat is just enough to help extract all the good stuff out of the plant matter and into the oil. And the oil will start to turn slightly yellow. The longer you leave it in, the longer that will happen. But it is very, very easy to do. So if you just go and you stuck this, put a crock pot with some water in it, stuck this in the top, shut the lid, let it heat up for the next 4 or 5 hours, and then remove it, then you will have extracted enough of the positive, like the antioxidants, the beta carotene, all the things will extract into the oil and you can use it from there. So that's the fastest way. So if you need to make something right away and you don't have the 6 weeks to wait, that's fine. And then all you need to do is put it through, I usually put it through a chinois, which is that kind of funneled strainer with the thin mesh. I usually do line that with cheesecloth that I have. And then once I let it drain through, so as much oil and everything comes through the bottom and the plant matter is retained in the top of the cheesecloth, then I will put it into a ball situation and with clean hands, twist, 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 and wring so that you get your calendula infused oil. Now, once you get that oil, like I said, depending on what you've done, if you've done it with rice bran oil, then you can easily use that as a base for any kind of skin serums that you're looking to heal. If you want to use it as a salve, all you need to add is for every 1 cup of oil, you need 2 tablespoons of beeswax, and that will set up as a salve so that you can use that whenever you need it for diaper rash issues or, like I said, any kind of skin cuts. It helps with bruising. Any of those things, it'll work well for. But if you do it with olive oil or if you do it with sunflower oil, then you can just as easily use it in salad dressings. And people don't think about that, but that's a great way to introduce, extra beta carotene, also all the antioxidants. It's not just, the regular salad dressing that you're getting, especially for those of you that are now starting to watch buying bottled salad dressing and making your own. It just gives a brilliant burst of like orange color as well as an extra boost on flavor and vitamins that you're getting. All you need to add is a little bit of vinegar, salt and pepper, and you're good to go. So it is a quick, easy thing to do. Beyond that, I think the ability to have something that's natural, that you've made, that's in your home, that can help with everything from gastric inflammation to stomach upset. It can also help with congestion, or if you just prefer to keep the leaves or the petals separate and just make a tea out of that, that will also work on gastric issues. It will work. You can make a poultice out of it if you have a skin issue. The only people that may have an issue with this is if you are pregnant. I'm not sure that I would drink very much of the tea. It's not saying that you can't, but I would be careful about that. The only other people that might have an issue are people that have allergies to anything in the Asteraceae family. So people who generally have ragweed issues or suffer from allergies at the change of spring, they might have issues. Usually what you can do is do a patch test, and if they have any kind of contact dermatitis issues after using it, then you don't want to use it on the skin. But that's even more of a reason that if you can't use it on your skin and you want to take advantage of the benefits, that you can use it as a tea or as your own infused oil. So that is it. I hope that will give you some ideas of what you can do with calendula. Like I said, it's a fantastic herb that's been used in time immemorial. I mean, it goes back to originally the name marigold, because these were one of the flowers that they actually used to put on the altar to pay homage to Mary, the mother of Jesus. It's one of those things that in India they use in celebration for just lovely flowers that they hang around. But the fact that it actually does have medicinal properties and can help everything from, you know, preventing sepsis to stopping bleeding, it's just one of the greatest plants that you can possibly grow. Believe me, when my garden is back to normal and I can start planting things and planning for the next season, it will be one of the things that comes back in, because it's just ridiculously easy to grow. Once it grows, it pretty much self-propagates. So once you have a good bed going, you can go out and now would be the perfect time to start picking your heads off of it and just letting them dry so that you have it for later, whether you want to use it as a tea, whether you want to use it just for coloring in a natural potpourri, whether you want to use it as just a lovely way to top off if you're doing handcrafted soaps, because it has that lovely yellow color. You can dry those and put those on the tops of soap so you have like an herb-based looking soap, and even the oil used in the soap for all the wonderful things that it does for skin and for healing. So that is it. I hope that you will give this a try yourself. One last thing, I can't attest to this, but I will say that there are some studies now that are being done, because they do believe that on top of everything else that calendula does, it actually has an anti-tumor action. So oncologists are studying this, because it may be one of those things that we come out later and find out it really does help with the prevention of cancer. So I think anytime that you're dealing with a lot of antioxidants and beta carotene and introducing all of those things to your body, those are always good things. And isn't it much better to have something that you're making yourself, you're using in the natural state? Because trust me, if Big Pharma does find out that calendula does have an anti-tumor ability, they're not going to give you the whole plant. They're going to extract out the little bit that they need versus getting all of the benefits. And sometimes it's the synergy of the whole that works better than just the part. So that's it. I will be back on Friday. Friday will be my last show for 3 weeks, because I am chomping at the bit to get the heck out of Dodge. And right now, like, half of my brain is gone because I've got 4 more sleeps until I am out of here. But I will be back on Friday. We'll be talking about Health Focus Friday, on all of the news in the media regarding health that may be applicable to you and that you can use to your best advantage. We're also going to talk about my own personal trial with black seed oil, Nigella sativa. Yes, after talking about it, I did try it. Some things worked, some things didn't. We'll talk about all of that on Friday. In the meantime, wherever you go, whatever you do, try and be better people. Oh, well, thank you, and please do catch the replay. And if any of this is of interest, please pass it on to others. In the meantime, have a great Wednesday, and I hope to see you on Friday. Have a good one.